Have you ever asked yourself why some women seem to leave a haunting imprint on a man's soul, while others, no matter how charming, beautiful, or intelligent, fade from his memory like a dream upon waking? It's not a matter of effort or appearance. It's something far deeper. There is an ancient, untamed feminine energy, one that most women never fully access, that speaks directly to the unconscious. It's not about what she says or does, but what her very essence evokes. This isn't fantasy. According to Carl Jung, what truly binds two people is not their conversation, not shared experiences, but something that stirs at the soul level, something primal, buried deep beneath layers of reason and logic. A woman, without realizing it, can embody a mysterious force that speaks to the hidden dreams and ancestral longings of a man. She becomes the silent answer to a question he's never been able to ask. So, no, men aren't addicted to you. They're addicted to the emotional state you awaken within them, a state that feels like home and mystery at the same time. You are there, but slightly out of reach, soft, but not submissive, warm, but not needy. And this paradox ignites something he cannot explain. You become the embodiment of a spiritual whirlwind, a storm cloaked in tenderness and mystique that captivates him without warning. In this video, I will uncover the 7 hidden layers of feminine energy that trigger a profound psychological and spiritual obsession in a man. These layers have nothing to do with physical appearance, and everything to do with how you inhabit your inner world. Some of these might surprise you. In fact, you may already be living with them without realizing their power, but once you understand them, you'll begin to see your own identity through an entirely new lens. Stay with me until the final secret. It might not just make him crave you deeply, it could reveal a part of yourself you've long forgotten. Let's begin with the first layer, the anima and the awakening of primal emotion. Within the soul of every man lies an image, intangible, wordless and profound, of a woman he has never truly met. She does not exist in the real world, not in the women around him, not even in his memories. She comes from a deeper place, his unconscious mind, shaped by myths, ancestral memories, and collective experiences passed down through centuries of human longing. Carl Jung gave this image a name, the anima, the feminine soul archetype that lives inside every man. This inner figure is not based on culture, social ideals, or personal history. It isn't necessarily like his mother or any former lover. It is a symbol, composed of feelings, dreams, moods, and timeless qualities he seeks but can never hold. The anima represents softness, mystery, emotional depth, and sacredness, things that logic cannot explain but the heart instinctively yearns for. And when a woman enters his life and unknowingly mirrors this archetype, something ancient awakens. She doesn't need to try. She simply is, and suddenly he is pulled toward her like a tide pulled by the moon. This is not the work of reason. It is the rise of something instinctual, something beyond his control. It is a gravitational force that overrides logic, and because he cannot escape or even name what pulls him in, he becomes obsessed. Jung observed that once the anima is activated, a man no longer sees a woman for who she is, but for what she means to him. She becomes a vessel of something larger. He doesn't just love her, he searches for himself through her. Women who trigger this unconscious magnetism often carry emotional nuance. They have a fluidity of being. They are not fixed in one mood or identity. One moment she is still and serene like a lake at dawn. The next she shimmers with an unexpected intensity, reflecting light he didn't know existed. She doesn't put on a performance, she simply feels. And her feelings shape her presence like wind shapes water. She can be soothing, then sudden, gentle, then bold. And this unpredictability doesn't stem from manipulation. It comes from living truthfully in every emotional layer, without apology or mask. Like water, she adapts, mist, rain, or storm, depending on what moves her soul. Every version of herself is real, and she hides none of them. She is vulnerable, but not fragile. Independent, but open. She does not chase. She does not beg. She is immersed in the richness of her inner world, one so intricate that a man can only witness it from the edges. He cannot possess it, no matter how much he tries. Jung warned that if a man is unaware of his anima, if he doesn't recognize this force inside himself, he becomes vulnerable to illusion, obsession, and heartbreak. He might believe he has found the one, but in truth, he is chasing his own shadow, projected onto the woman before him. He confuses his longing with love, and this is why some connections are so intense, so magnetic, yet so unstable and painful. The chaos comes not from her, but from the unconscious image within him that she unknowingly awakens. The anima is not awakened by conforming to others' desires. This is not something that can be summoned by effort, nor is it a reaction to pleasing behavior. It emerges when a woman lives in truth, not performance. And here's the striking truth. A woman doesn't need to study archetypes or master ancient psychology to awaken the anima in a man. She doesn't need to strategize or adopt a persona. All she needs is to live authentically, unapologetically, and without twisting herself into a shape that makes others comfortable. She does not need to become who others want her to be. She does not suppress her fire, her softness, or her contradictions to fit into a social script. It is precisely her inner wholeness, her emotional complexity, her ability to hold contradictions without shame, that becomes the mysterious force men can neither name nor resist. It is her realness, not her perfection, that sparks a man's deepest unconscious obsession. So then arises a timeless question: how does a woman awaken the anima in a man if she's never even heard of it? How can she stir such deep emotions without manipulation or method? The answer doesn't lie in charm or tactics. It lies in something older, purer, and far more powerful. It lies in 7 secret expressions of feminine energy, each capable of reaching the subconscious mind of a man, not by controlling him, but by stirring what lies dormant within him. Before we begin to explore these, I want to take a moment to thank you for choosing to be here. Among countless voices and sources, you've chosen to explore with us. Your presence is not just welcomed, it's a vital part of this shared journey to bring Carl Jung's timeless insights into the light for more souls to see. So, if this resonates with you, please take a moment to like and share this video. Let this wisdom reach someone else who may need it. Or leave a comment that simply says, "I'm ready to embark on this journey together." Now let's open the door to the first secret, the power of emotional contrast. There is a psychological truth so simple it often goes unnoticed. Men are not addicted to you as a person, they are addicted to how they feel when they are around you. And those feelings, they're not born from beauty, nor from being consistently sweet or agreeable. They arise when something stirs within him. Something unpredictable, alive, and emotionally dynamic. This stirring is called emotional contrast, a deep psychological trigger few talk about. It is not a game, nor a method. It is not about calculated behavior. It is instinctual. It is the rhythm of the soul expressing itself in waves, now gentle, now intense. It is how you make him laugh with ease, then pause long enough for silence to echo. It's how you move from light-hearted play to soul-deep reflection, from warmth to poise, from affection to sovereignty. Not because you're performing, but because all of these expressions genuinely live inside you. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. For such a reaction to happen, there must be emotional energy." Emotional contrast is that spark. It jolts him awake like a sudden touch to a live wire. Without it, there is no transformation, no memory, no desire. A woman who remains locked in one tone, always nice, always polite, always positive, soon fades into the background of his mind. But a woman who embraces all her emotional colors, who dares to cry, laugh, reflect, tease, and challenge, is someone a man cannot easily forget. Why? Because he never feels like he's fully grasped her. Psychological studies confirm this. Our brains are wired to respond more powerfully to experiences that are emotionally unpredictable. Dopamine, the chemical of desire and excitement, spikes when we encounter the unexpected. This is why people get hooked on video games, dramatic stories, or unpredictable relationships. Not because they picture this, a woman who jokes effortlessly, drawing laughter around her. Then, as the conversation deepens, her voice slows, her eyes reflect sincerity, and she shares something real, something vulnerable. In that moment, the man listening feels something shift. He doesn't know why, but he suddenly wants to know her more. He senses a depth that catches him off guard. That is when his anima stirs. She has touched something ancient inside him, not through seduction, but through being profoundly herself. And the psychological impact? He becomes emotionally invested. He listens more closely. He starts to feel like he's no longer on steady ground. She becomes unforgettable. A woman who lives this way, authentically, emotionally present, in a world obsessed with perfection, becomes a disruptive force. She is uncontainable. She doesn't follow scripts. He cannot map her, and for that reason, he cannot control what he feels around her. Emotional psychology teaches us that what the mind remembers most deeply are experiences charged with emotional amplitude, moments of tension, release, laughter, discomfort, and awe. If you are only kind and agreeable, he will smile and move on. But if you stir a range of emotions, if you inspire him, provoke him, comfort him, and even leave him slightly off balance when you're not around, you become more than a memory. You become a feeling he cannot shake, a space in his mind where predictable women cannot compete. A man, no matter how strong, rational, or controlled, will begin to feel pulled into an emotional state he thought himself immune to. He may pride himself on his logic, his discipline, his ability to remain untouched by emotional chaos. But when he encounters certain emotional energies, those defenses begin to dissolve. This shift doesn't indicate weakness. Rather, it reveals a deeper truth. Emotional contrast, contrary to what many assume, is not about chaos or uncontrollable mood swings. It is something far more profound and structured. The ordered flow of opposing emotional layers that reflect the full spectrum of human experience. Carl Jung understood this intimately. He viewed the human psyche as a delicate interplay of dualities, light and dark, conscious and unconscious, masculine and feminine. In this way, the emotional realm is not merely reactive or irrational, it is the very space where the soul unfolds its layers and contradictions, seeking integration. When a woman allows herself to express all her opposing facets, the man interacting with her is drawn into a process of integrating his being. He is not just attracted to her, he is awakened by the primal emotions she stirs within him. There is a mysterious pull, something ancient, that arises not from her appearance or words alone, but from the energy she carries, the fire and water that dance within her soul. In a modern world where everything is fast and predictable, a woman who brings emotions like a novel with surprising turns on every page keeps a man reading, afraid to miss something precious if he stops. She doesn't follow a script. She is the story. One moment tender and calm, the next fierce and unapologetically wild. She reminds him of parts of himself long forgotten. Isn't that what keeps us turning the pages of any great tale? The unpredictability, the tension, the depth. The remarkable thing is, emotional contrast is not something you learn from dating tips. It is the natural result of a woman connecting deeply with her inner world, unafraid to traverse every state, including the darker corners, and embracing them as a beautiful part of herself. She doesn't force contrast, it flows from her like music, each note building on the next. When she understands she can be both a cool stream and a blazing fire, a storm and a sunrise, she no longer merely attracts, she awakens, and not just others, but herself. The courage to hold both serenity and storm within her chest makes her not only magnetic, but unforgettable. Secret number 2, emotional self-mastery. Emotional contrast draws men in, But what makes a man unable to forget you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Perhaps we'll all gain a fresh perspective. Here we delve into the second secret, the energy of self-mastery. A woman may captivate through her emotional shifts, but she truly inspires lasting longing when she is complete in herself, without needing a man to become her fullest version. That kind of inner peace radiates outward. Carl Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That privilege is not granted by another person. It is earned in solitude, in reflection, in courage." A truly captivating woman does not need a man to feel whole, does not need love to prove her worth, does not need to be chosen to know she is deserving. Her identity is not up for negotiation, and her value isn't waiting on someone else's recognition. She is already a complete being before anyone enters her life, and will remain so after they leave. She does not stand waiting for rescue. She loves and nurtures herself every day. This kind of woman becomes her own sanctuary, her peace, her joy, her fire. They are not contingent on anyone else. In modern psychology, the concept of emotional self-regulation, the ability to manage one's emotional state without relying on external validation, is a form of mental strength few truly cultivate, and yet it is the very foundation of genuine confidence. Modern humans are too accustomed to seeking affirmation from phones, messages, compliments, glances, or others' attention. We scroll for approval, we wait for notifications like lifelines, and we chase responses to validate our worth. This often leads women to make relationships the center of their being, as if a missed text, a missed call, or an absence of "I love you" causes their entire emotional world to collapse. In contrast, a woman with emotional self-mastery can feel deeply, love passionately, and yearn intensely. Yet none of these emotions causes her to lose her center. She still goes to the gym on schedule. She completes her projects. She meets friends, reads books, and learns a new language. She finds joy in her own life. She does not abandon herself for the sake of connection. She does not trade her identity for closeness. And this energy, non-clinging, non-needy, is what makes men want to stay, not out of obligation, but from genuine admiration. Jung explains this through the concept of individuation, the process of becoming one's true self. He believed that only by stepping away from imposed societal roles and delving into one's authentic being can a person achieve psychological maturity. It is not an act of rebellion, but of return. Returning to who we were before the world told us who to be. A woman who enters love before individuation, before knowing who she is, what she needs, what she fears, or what she values, risks losing herself in the other's presence. She becomes a mirror for someone else's identity, rather than the flame of her own. Every word, action, appearance, or absence of a man directly affects her emotions, as if her heart lies in someone else's hands. Conversely, a woman who has individuated, who knows exactly who she is, does not offer her heart as collateral for love. She gives love because she chooses to, not because she needs completion. She is not swayed by promises, does not cling to relationships. Her life is not built around them. She walks beside her partner, but never loses herself within the connection. She can love deeply, fully, and with great sincerity, but if the other turns away, she does not collapse. Her heart may ache, but it does not shatter. She grieves, yes, but she remains rooted. Her emotional foundation has never depended on external circumstances. It has always come from within. Behavioral psychology shows that people value what is scarce and hard to attain. The principle is simple. What is readily available often goes unnoticed, while what is rare feels priceless. This applies even more so in matters of the heart, where true emotional self-mastery becomes the most uncommon and desirable quality. Emotional self-mastery is the rarest, most precious scarcity in matters of the heart. A woman who eagerly waits for a message, sacrifices her priorities, or instantly reshuffles her day the moment a man texts, "Are you free?" She may be kind and giving, but her value diminishes in the eyes of someone who has not yet learned to respect it. Compare that with the woman who calmly replies, I'm busy, but we can arrange to meet this weekend. That response is not cold, it is centered. It says, I value your presence, but I also value my time. And men, though they may not say it, feel the difference in every fiber of their being. It registers not just intellectually, but instinctively. Self-mastery is not just attractive, it is protective. It acts like a silent shield, guarding her from half-hearted intentions, from fleeting flirtations, from giving too much, too soon, to someone undeserving. A woman who can say no, who can walk away without a scene, who can refuse love that is shallow or misaligned. She doesn't just gain attention, she commands it. She leaves a deep impression on the hearts of mature men, the ones who recognize substance and yearn to remain close. But when a woman is already whole, standing firm in her world, what makes a man not only respect her, but want to explore her deeper, longer? What sustains attraction even after the novelty wears off, when the excitement of first impressions fades? Could it be something the intellect cannot grasp, yet the soul instinctively pursues? Mystery, that quiet magnetic force. And true mystery lies not in what you say, but in the space you leave. Secret number 3, mystery and the allure of space. This is not about manipulation. We are not referring to the kind of mystery created by ignoring messages, playing games, or acting indifferent to provoke interest. Those tactics may work briefly, but they wear off fast because they lack authenticity. What truly captivates a man is the space left unfilled by words, unexplained by logic, and impossible to predict. It's that pause in the conversation when he wonders what you're thinking, that glance that invites questions but offers no easy answers. Carl Jung called this the phenomenon of projection, psychological projection. When a man does not fully understand you, cannot decode you or see all of you, he is not confined by reality. He fills your image with his imagination. You become more than a person. You become a symbol, a mirror of his inner world, a reflection of a longing he himself doesn't yet fully understand. This explains why many men admit, I don't know why I keep thinking about her. There's nothing particularly striking in appearance, nothing explosive in conversation, and yet something lingers. Something refuses to leave his mind. The ambiguity, the slow unfolding, the refusal to reveal everything. It draws him in like a novel with missing chapters he's desperate to read. He doesn't just remember her, he feels compelled by her presence. Because when all the questions are answered, when every piece fits into place, curiosity dies. And once curiosity fades, desire inevitably follows. You don't need to keep secrets to be mysterious. You simply need to stop giving everything away too soon. You don't need to recount your whole life story just because someone asks. You don't need to become an open book anyone can flip through in one sitting. True mystery lies not in hiding, but in protecting what is sacred, in reserving parts of yourself for the right moment, the right man, the right depth of connection. Consider a practical example. A man you're getting to know asks about your past relationships. You respond gently, "That's a part of me I share only when I feel safe and we're closer." This answer is not a wall, it's a window. It signals boundaries, self-respect, and emotional wisdom. You don't flood the moment with memories. Instead, you leave just enough space for his curiosity to breathe, for his emotions to engage. In behavioral psychology, the Zeigarnik effect explains that people remember incomplete or unresolved experiences more vividly than completed ones. It's the unfinished conversation, the lingering question, the moment that ended just before it was fully explored. That's what the mind returns to again and again. The less clear it is, the more he wonders, what did she mean? Or thinks, there's something I haven't yet reached. And when his thoughts begin circling around you, that is where obsession begins. A woman lacking mystery often wants everything clear from the start. She wants to seem honest, transparent, and trusting. She says, This is my job. This is my past relationship. This is what I like, what I hate, what I dream of. While it may seem open and genuine, it removes the sense of discovery. If everything is laid bare immediately, what's left for him to explore? You've given him the end of the story before he's earned the right to know the beginning. Jung noted that mystery is something to be explored, not explained. This is true in emotional attraction. Men don't need to decode you to feel love. They need to feel you are a journey, not a destination. They need to sense that your world is vast, your emotions layered, your thoughts unpredictable, but sincere. They need to know there are parts of you they may never reach, but will always want to try. And a truly mysterious woman doesn't craft this illusion. She doesn't withdraw to be chased or stay silent to be noticed. She simply doesn't give her deepest self to fleeting connections. Her heart, her spirit, the truest layers of who she is. These are not handed over casually, nor offered in haste. She is not interested in playing emotional games or pretending to be unavailable just for attention. Rather, she honors her soul. She doesn't hold back from playing hard to get, but because she knows the value of what remains untold. The parts of her that are quiet, sacred, and profound, those aren't for just anyone. This is not emotional manipulation, it is the instinct to protect the depth of her soul from hasty consumption. She understands that what is truly valuable must be cherished, not rushed, and that protection is the most powerful invitation. It sends a silent message. If you wish to know me deeply, you must first prove yourself worthy of depth. A mature man will realize she's not easily accessible. He won't find her essence lying in plain sight, ready to be consumed like fast food. Instead, if he senses her openness one day, if she chooses to let him glimpse beneath her surface, it will feel like a true gift, a moment earned, not given. But if one day she chooses to share more with me, it will be a gift. Not all are meant to reach the depths. Those who seek only ease will leave, and that is for the best. Not everyone deserves to gang to the depths within you. Secret number 4, finding joy in yourself. Because even mystery, no matter how magnetic, is merely an alluring mist if there is no true light within you. Without a vibrant inner world, mystery becomes an empty echo. So what makes a man not only curious about you, but eager to stay, to understand, to reach deeper? It's not merely your beauty or your charm. It's when he senses that you don't need him to find life fascinating, that your life is already a rich, colorful landscape, and if he's lucky, he is invited to walk beside you through it. There is a paradox in attraction that few truly understand. The more you chase, the more you lose. The more you try to impress, the faster interest fades. And strangely, the less you try to captivate, the more captivating you become. Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." When a woman reaches this level of self-acceptance, when she no longer needs others to confirm that she is interesting, beautiful, or lovable, she begins to radiate a magnetic energy. It's not rehearsed. It's not intentional. It's simply the joy of her being. Self-amusement is not a cold pretense of "I don't need anyone." It is the quiet exhilaration of living true to your essence, whether anyone is watching or not. It's found in the smallest details. When you're cooking dinner alone and humming a song you love, or laughing out loud over a silly memory from years ago. It's found in the freedom to walk through the city, soaking in the atmosphere with no need to post about it online or share it instantly with someone to validate the experience. A woman who knows how to make herself happy creates an aura of ease around others. She becomes a breath of fresh air in a world addicted to attention and validation. She doesn't demand control or cling for reassurance. She doesn't wait for someone to fill a void within her, because she has already filled it herself. With passion, with curiosity, with simple pleasures. When he comes, she welcomes him. When he doesn't, she continues to savor her evening, a good book, an old song, an aimless walk through the streets. She doesn't live in a state of waiting to be chosen. She chose herself long ago. Social psychology shows that people are most drawn to those who exude a relaxed yet vibrant energy. Not a forced attachment, but a natural self-contentment. An effortless state free from the need to control situations, yet brimming with vitality. It's the kind of energy that doesn't beg for attention but naturally commands it. Self-amusement is precisely this energy. It makes others feel as though they've stepped into the world of someone living authentically, someone who does not need to prove anything or perform for approval. And the beauty of it is this: when you're not trying to make someone laugh, they often laugh the most around you. Carl Jung believed that nothing has a stronger psychological influence on children than the unlived life of the parent. The same applies to romantic relationships. Nothing captivates a man more than the energy of a woman living a life unhindered, a woman who is not confined by fears of rejection or the need to be chosen, but who chooses herself daily with joy and freedom. A man may love your physical beauty, but he becomes obsessed when he thinks of you and remembers how you live, the way you burst into laughter watching a silly video, the way you dance clumsily in the kitchen to a song you've loved since childhood. The way you tell a story with such vivid passion about something small, like finding your favorite chocolate in a shop you didn't expect, or running into an old friend in a quiet bookstore. These moments may seem insignificant to the outside world, but they are real to you, and your willingness to let them matter is what sets you apart. Self-amusement doesn't come from a perfect life. It comes from permission. Permission to enjoy the little things. Permission to fail without tearing yourself down. Permission to be joyful, melancholic, silly, or still, without feeling the need to explain or apologize. Such a woman doesn't need to complicate a conversation to appear deep. She simply speaks about what lights a spark in her eyes, and a man is drawn not to the subject, but to the light in her eyes when she speaks. Most importantly, self-amusement makes you less vulnerable to hurt. You don't place your entire happiness in someone else's hands. When he leaves, you don't lose your emotional self-mastery. You may feel sad, you may cry, but you'll still show up for your life. You'll still go to work the next morning, still buy fresh flowers and place them on your table, and maybe, just maybe, smile to yourself because the sky is bluer today than it was yesterday. This continuity, uninterrupted by another's presence or absence, is what makes you free. It's not about who comes and goes in your life. It's about your unbroken connection to your own essence. You remain whole, centered, untouched by the shifting presence of others. That is true inner freedom, the kind that doesn't crumble when someone leaves or inflate when someone enters. Secret number 5, being fully present in every moment. Because even the most radiant, self-driven joy loses its magic if you remain locked within your own internal walls. True connection requires more than just being there physically. It demands something deeper, something alive. The real question is, when you're with someone, are you truly with them? Are you engaged with more than your words? Are you offering your attention as a living, breathing energy, focused, undistracted, and deeply attuned? Presence isn't about simply nodding along in a conversation. It's about giving your full self, your eyes, your ears, your spirit. In a world flooded with distractions, that kind of attention feels like a miracle. A person who can laugh alone is living for themselves, but the one who can make another feel truly seen, deeply heard, and sincerely understood in every shared moment, that is the person who leaves a lasting imprint. That's the presence that inspires a man to stay, not out of duty or habit, but because being with you feels like being home. In an age where speed and noise dominate, the gift of full presence is rare, and yet it remains one of the most profound needs of the human soul. Carl Jung described self-development not only as becoming aware of oneself, but as having the capacity to be entirely rooted in the present reality. It means not floating halfway through a conversation, not sneaking a glance at your phone every few minutes, not shifting the spotlight back to yourself. It means being with someone in full, seeing, hearing, and responding not with rehearsed reactions, but with depth and sincerity. Because here's what reality continues to show us. Men crave to be around women who make them feel heard, not corrected. When he opens up about his work stress, about the uncertainties clawing at him beneath the surface, he's not always seeking solutions. He doesn't want your advice first. He wants your presence. If you interrupt with, "I've been there too, I think you should," you might unintentionally shut him down. His emotions may dim. His openness may shrink. Sometimes the most powerful response is your silence. Not the empty kind, but the silent presence that says, "I'm here, I understand, and you're safe." In behavioral psychology, this is known as empathic resonance or emotional attunement. It's when your inner energy aligns with the emotional frequency of the person beside you. You don't have to speak. You simply are, and that is enough. They relax. They begin to speak more freely. They reveal things they've never dared to tell anyone before. And when someone feels that level of safety, the freedom to show up as their authentic self, unmasked and unfiltered, you become the sanctuary they yearn to return to. That kind of presence doesn't come from memorizing clever communication tricks. It grows from your ability to hold space, to stay steady through silence, through vulnerability, through the rawness of real emotion, without rushing to fix, change, or fill the moment. A man may cross paths with many beautiful, intelligent, or dazzling women, but if, one day, he sits across from a woman who lets him breathe, who doesn't require him to entertain, impress, or keep the energy light, he will feel a kind of peace that goes deeper than physical attraction or romantic interest. It touches something more sacred, his sense of self. That level of connection can never be manufactured through technique. It can only be born from presence, real, grounded, soul-level presence. Even in healing work, it's been discovered that the calm energy of a grounded person has more power than any medication or analysis. Why? Because the wounded don't always need their pain to be explained. They need a hand to hold. They need a heart that doesn't flinch when sadness shows up. And men, no matter how strong or stoic they may appear on the outside, need this more than they will ever say aloud. A woman who offers this kind of presence is not just a partner. She becomes an anchor, invisible perhaps, but undeniable. You don't need to announce it. Everyone simply feels it. Secret number 6, strategic scarcity. When a woman is truly present in each moment, she awakens the other person's spirit, makes them feel alive, seen, and valued. But what happens after that moment ends? What happens when the man walks away? The real mystery isn't about how you make someone feel when you're there, it's about how they feel after you're gone. And here, one of the most powerful laws of attraction quietly enters the scene: strategic scarcity. Because people rarely yearn for what they always have. They ache for what feels rare, elusive, almost within reach, but never fully possessed. In psychology, this is known as the scarcity bias, the tendency to assign greater value to what is unstable, limited, or uncertain. Jung said the pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. This insight reveals something crucial, that the human mind is not always guided by logic or morality, but rather by curiosity, wonder, and imagination. People are irresistibly drawn not to what is purely rational, but to what stirs their thoughts, what causes them to pause, hesitate, and explore the unknown. That's why the woman who leaves a trace of mystery, who remains just a little out of reach, is often the one a man remembers long after others have faded from memory. Strategic scarcity is not a manipulative game of ignoring him to make him want you. It's not about using absence as a tactic. Instead, it's the conscious act of not centering your life around someone else's presence. It's about holding your own space, your own rhythm, not out of indifference, but out of self-respect. You're not cold or distant. You're simply not always available, not entirely predictable. You refuse to orbit around someone else's schedule or emotional needs as if you have none of your own. If you're always the first to respond, always saying yes, always accommodating his time without question, then no matter how genuine your love is, it risks becoming taken for granted. Predictability can breed comfort, yes, but too much of it suffocates attraction, and attraction by its very nature thrives on a delicate balance of closeness and space. Picture this in real life, a scene many women will recognize. After a draining week filled with deadlines, meetings, and responsibilities, you finally carve out a peaceful weekend morning for yourself. You stretch on your yoga mat, sip a warm cup of coffee with close friends, then curl up to enjoy a few chapters of a book. Suddenly, your phone buzzes. A message from the man you've been seeing. "What are you doing? Want to meet up this morning?" You smile at the thought of him. You do miss him. But instead of abandoning your plans, you reply with gentle honesty. "I've got plans this morning." Then, perhaps you add, "If you'd like, we can meet this afternoon after 4. And in that brief moment, without any need to explain or apologize, you affirm something powerful. Your time matters. You're not rushing to him as though his invitation validates your worth. You have your own rhythm, your own commitments, and you honor them. That is not indifference, that is integrity. The man reading that message may feel a flicker of disappointment, but almost instantly it is replaced by another emotion: respect. He sees that you prioritize yourself. He understands that your time is not something anyone can demand on a whim. And in that understanding, a subtle shift occurs. Attachment begins to form because he realizes that you're not dependent on him to feel whole. You choose him, and that makes your presence all the more valuable. Strategic scarcity also involves the element of unpredictability. A woman who always texts first, always fills the silence, always initiates every interaction, unknowingly tells a man that he doesn't have to try. And when effort disappears, so does emotional investment. Human nature is wired for challenge. Even in the subtle language of relationships, effort is what deepens value. But when you occasionally pull back, let a conversation end naturally without rushing to continue it, or allow some space to exist, something interesting happens. He begins to notice your absence. He begins to wonder. He thinks about what you're doing, who you're with, what you're feeling. And that moment of wondering becomes a fertile ground where deeper emotional connection starts to grow. That time of wondering is when emotional connection takes root, deeper than any long conversation. Jung once said, "What we do not bring to consciousness appears in our lives as fate." And this holds especially true in love. Many women who have once felt abandoned unconsciously try to prevent it from happening again by always being available, always initiating, always proving their love, fearing they'll be forgotten. But here's the paradox. Being too present, too quick to give, too easily accessed can dilute your emotional value. Not because your love isn't real or powerful, but because you've offered it too soon, too freely, without requiring the other person to step forward and earn their place in your world. A woman who understands this truth doesn't use it as a tool for manipulation. She uses it as a form of emotional self-care. She protects her energy because she knows how much she carries. She recognizes that not everyone deserves instant access to her inner world. She allows people to approach gradually, to reveal their intentions over time. Her love unfolds at a natural pace, never too rushed, never too withheld. Some days, she may send long, thoughtful messages. Other days, she may be quiet, not out of calculation, but because she's genuinely busy, immersed in her own passions, laughing with friends, living fully. Love is part of her life, but it doesn't define it. She is not playing a game, she is simply living well. Strategic scarcity lies in the sense that you cannot be fully possessed. The woman who leaves a lingering presence, who doesn't share every detail, who holds part of her story close, sparks something ancient in human nature. The urge to discover, to invest, to stay. She doesn't overwhelm the other person with everything she has. Instead, she allows their curiosity to grow, and when someone begins to invest emotionally, they grow attached, and once that investment is made, they are reluctant to let go. Secret number 7. Giving a man the opportunity to show. When you're not overly present, when you create just enough space, something beautiful unfolds. A man begins to rise, he starts to reveal more of himself, puts in more effort, and seeks to earn your favor. In relationships, as in all things, we don't deeply value what comes too easily. nor do we become truly attached to what requires no effort. This doesn't mean love should be exhausting, but rather that emotions deepen when they are cultivated, not handed over on a platter. True connection isn't about constantly proving your affection or draining your energy in pursuit of someone else. Instead, it's about allowing feelings to evolve organically, to mature over time through effort, patience, and presence. It's a slow burn, not a flash of intensity that disappears overnight. Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." It's a powerful truth, one that reveals how our deepest emotions often take root not through what we gain easily, but through what challenges us, pushes us, and inspires us to rise. People aren't driven by what's handed to them freely, they are stirred by what calls forth their effort. Their instinct to pursue, to overcome, to contribute, to matter. A man, no matter how emotionally aware he may be, will not forge a true emotional bond with a woman unless he is given the opportunity to step forward, to offer something real of himself. Emotional depth is not something that can be forced. It is awakened when a man feels invited, yet not handed everything without question. Inspiring a man to invest doesn't mean issuing demands. It's not about laying down rules or giving ultimatums like, "You must do this or that for me to take you seriously." That kind of energy builds pressure, not intimacy. What truly draws a man in is something more refined, more subtle. It's the quiet knowing that winning your presence, your time, and your regard isn't something that happens automatically. It's earned, not because you withhold love, but because you hold yourself in high regard. And more importantly, it's the feeling he experiences when he's with you. The sense that being near you activates the best parts of him. He wants to be around you not out of obligation, but because something about your presence makes him feel more alive, more capable, more grounded. Not because you're training him like a student or showering him with constant praise, but because the way you respond, with sincerity, grace, and authenticity, reflects back to him his own worth. There's a core truth in behavioral psychology. The more a person invests in something, the more deeply they become attached to it. On the other hand, when the investment is one-sided, when one gives and gives while the other only receives, the emotional connection becomes fragile. It may look fine on the surface, but underneath, it is easily cracked. A woman who always leads the relationship, who never allows the man space to show initiative, unknowingly sends the message that he's not essential. And no one, man or woman, wants to feel unnecessary in a connection that's meant to be shared. To truly inspire investment, you must also allow yourself to receive. When you're struggling, don't automatically say, "I'm fine." When you need help, don't brush it off for fear of seeming weak or too dependent. Those moments, however small, open a doorway into your emotional world. And for a man, being led into that space, being trusted enough to comfort, support, or protect, creates a bond that cannot be mimicked through superficial gestures. Men are often more emotionally invested in the women they've helped, stood beside, or made sacrifices for, not because of what they gave, but because of what it meant. The sense of being valuable, needed, trusted, those are the emotions that anchor attachment. Ultimately, it's not grand promises or expensive gifts that make a man stay. It's the feeling that, when he's with you, he becomes a better version of himself, that his time spent in your presence isn't just about companionship, it's growth, it's meaning, it's transformation, and no one easily walks away from the very space where they feel most themselves. Picture yourself as a pristine forest, untouched, still, whole. You need no signs pointing to your beauty, no noise to call attention to your worth. Those who enter your space sense it, the sacredness, the quiet, the groundedness that cannot be explained in words. You do not perform, you do not beg to be seen. You simply are, and that is enough. You don't need to step outside yourself to be captivating. You don't need to edit your essence to become worthy of love. You only need to rest deeply within who you truly are, and from that place, everything meant for you will come, not through striving, but through alignment. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. When you begin living from the inside out, instead of trying to mold yourself to fit an external image, something changes. You no longer chase love, you become love. You no longer need strategies to make someone fall for you, because you are the wind that cannot be caught. The light that cannot be held yet once touched is never forgotten." If this video resonates with you, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications today. I also want to leave you with a question to sit with, one that could shift your inner world if you're willing to meet it with openness and honesty. Are you ready to embark on the path of understanding yourself and awakening the wholeness within?